Joining us now is Okpe, whose story is trending around the world. Hello, G.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you?
I'm good.
You're so happy today.
You know, once it's your turn, I'm always excited.
Party started. Good morning, Adeswa. How are you?
Good morning,
love you. Is it floral?
Thank you.
Love
Yes.
it. Love,
Yes,
love,
yes.
love. You look gorgeous.
Thank you, there.
Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Archie.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm glad I can hear you today.
Looking beautiful as always.
Always.
And blessed and
Thank you. Okay.
intelligent. God bless you.
God bless you too. Well, good morning to you viewers. We begin what's trending in Nigeria. Social media was abuzz on Tuesday following an outburst by a former Minister of Aviation, Femi Fani-Kayode, directed at a journalist who he claimed insulted him during a press conference. In a now viral video, the minister, who recently took a tour of some South and Southeast states, described the Daily Trust journalist as very stupid for asking if the tour was sponsored. Well, let's take a quick look at that video before we take some reactions from the various parties involved.
I'm saying this on live TV. What? No, put that thing down. Let me address. What type of stupid question is that? What type of stupid question is that? Bankrolling who? Do you know who you are talking to? I will not take any questions from this man. What type of insulting question is that? Which bankroll? To do what? Who can give me money for anything? Who do you think you are talking to?
I'm sorry, sir.
Bankroll what? Go and report yourself to your publisher. Bankroll what? Please don't insult me here.
Okay,
I don't want to take any questions from this man.
It's okay.
Very stupid. I could see from your face before you got here how stupid you are. Don't ever talk to me like that. Who do you think you're talking to? Bankroll who? You think that I'm one of those ones you'll be... From who? From how? When? Where? How? You have a small mind.
Sorry, sir.
Very small mind.
Sorry, sir.
Don't judge me by your own standards. I've been in politics since 1990. I'm not one of these politicians you think will just come. I've been locked up how many times by this government? Suffered.
Sorry, sir.
I've been persecuted.
Sorry, sir.
Unlike most of the politicians you follow for brown envelope. You. Don't ever judge me by that standard. I spend, I don't take. And I'm not a poor man. I've never been and I will never be. Bankroll how? Don't ever suggest that to me.
Sorry, sir. I think he got his language.
I'm sorry that it was deeply insulting. I don't often get annoyed in press conferences. I've been doing this type of thing for many, many years. Don't you ever make that kind of suggestion to me.
Sorry, sir. Thank you, sir, for your time, sir.
Bankroll who? A former minister? A lawyer?
Sorry, sir. He got his language. Sorry, sir.
Don't ever try that with me again. No. Don't, please. You see me well. Don't ever. All right? I have a short fuse. Okay?
Sorry.
Don't.
Sorry, sir.
Try it with others. Don't. I won't just say right now. I will hit you hard. Don't. And if anybody sent you to ask that question and gave you brand new, go and tell them you got more than they bargained for.
Now, meanwhile, the Nigerian Union of Journalists, civil society organizations, and the management of Daily Trust newspapers have all condemned the former Minister of Aviation for his reaction. Let's take some responses. First, we'll take the NUJ statement, which reads, the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, condemns the gangster-like outburst by Chief Femi Fani-Kayode against the Cross River State correspondent of the Daily Trust newspaper, Ayo Charles, who asked him a simple question which he felt was embarrassing. It is instructive to remind the likes of Fani-Kayode that it is the constitutional right of journalists to monitor and keep a check on people and institutions in power. His reaction was totally unacceptable, dishonorable, and reprehensible, and we demand for reaction of his untoward, irritating, and awkward utterances, which negate simple decorum and civility. Another press organization, the International Press Center, IPC, also sent in a statement condemning the minister, which reads, IPC views this development as repulsive and unacceptable, since there was nothing wrong with journalist Ayo Charles wanting to know if the tour was an independent initiative or a sponsored one. The former minister had the option of not answering the question, and the abuses were totally out of place in the context of the event. Well, finally, we'll take Daily Trust's statement in full support of their reporter. They wrote that Fani-Kayode attacks a reporter doing his job is an indication of the chilling disregard he has towards the media and its work in investigating and reporting on issues. As always, we stand in solidarity with our reporters, and we will continue to fight for the rights of all journalists. After all, journalism is part of the bedrock of democracy. Therefore, practitioners must not be intimidated or threatened as they carry out their work. Over to you, Adesua.
You know, I'm embarrassed, just watching that video for lots of reasons. But first and foremost, I think that was a fair question to ask the former minister who has been out of government for almost a decade, who is sponsoring this trip. Is it self-sponsored? And in whose interest are you carrying it out? Is it altruistic? Is it politically motivated? But I think it was a fair question that the former minister did not have an answer to, and he was caught off guard. That's how I feel. Just watching the journalists have to apologize for asking the right questions is what makes me embarrassed. And I like that, we've seen these reactions condemning the former minister's reactions. Despite, the attacks from all fronts, journalism remains a noble profession, one which I'm proud to be in. Let me also say that something the former minister said that suggests that perhaps we pay government officials too much, that when they leave office, they can never go broke, or they can never, they would always live in affluence. When he says, I'm a former minister, what exactly does that mean?
Yes. Well, he posted the video on his Twitter page, and he was, talking about the fact that he was in his right, and he was not going to apologize to the journalist because he felt that, it was a very stupid question for the journalist.
He has released a statement,
yes,
though.
I just wanted to, take a whole wrap of the situation. And he felt that the journalists insulted him. So, that was his own view at the point. And so with all of that, I think that's what outraged a lot of people on social media, that he didn't want to apologize. He has released a statement. Before we come to you, Dr. Bati, should we take his statement real quick before you have your own turn? Well, the former minister has sent an apology. The minister wrote, can we take his reaction? I met with my advisors till late last night, and I wish to say the following. I hereby withdraw the word stupid, which I used in my encounter with a journalist in Calabar. I have many friends in the media who I offended by losing my cool and using such words. I hereby express my regrets for doing so. So he did apologize. He just sent in that statement.
I don't know if that's an apology.
That's not an apology.
That's an apology. He withdrew the word stupid. I mean, this is failing to inspire forgiveness for me. Yes. But, I mean, there is no apology here. I'm expecting to hear him say, I apologize to the reporter. There's no apology there. Yeah, withdrawing the word stupid. That's all he has done. That's an explanation. It's not an apology.
Dr.
That's not an apology. That's not.
Well, it's as follows.
Yes.
We have had cause to talk about President Donald Trump attacking a reporter. Yesterday, we talked about the Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro,
yes.
Threatening to punch a reporter in the mouth for just asking a question about alleged family corruption. And then less than 24 hours later, we have the case of Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, calling a journalist stupid. Yes, in the last 24 hours, he has issued 3 statements on this. The first one, he stated what happened. The second one, he issued an addendum in which he denied that he threatened to deal with the journalist. And this morning, there has also been in circulation the piece that you read out. You took a paragraph of it. Because he went ahead to say that he has many friends in the media,
yes.
and that many of his friends in the media have taken offense, and that he respects journalists. But he then made a point again about the question that the guy asked, that he felt insulted and all of that. And that's where the second leg of the matter is. That does not amount to an apology. Femi Fani-Kayode is a well-educated person. He knows what it means to apologize. I do not see in the latest statement that he has issued any kind of regret. It remains a statement of defiance, and so it does not go far enough. But the problem we're dealing with here is the tendency on the part of public figures, or if you like, powerful, influential figures in or out of government, to think that they can teach journalists how to do their job. There's this attitude towards journalists, particularly reporters, on the part of persons who think that they are powerful or influential. So the reporter is usually looked down upon. That's why we are called press boys, and all of that. But in this case, Fani-Kayode is trying to teach a journalist how to ask a question. Now, that's presumptuous. You don't do that. A journalist is a professional. He can phrase the question the way he deems fit. In fact, the question can be phrased deliberately to provoke you, to get the truth out of you. But one of the things we suffer in this profession is that everybody thinks that they know the job,
and they can
the media job, better than the man who has chosen that line of a profession in his life. I mean, haven't we been on this program and people come here, they come and give us lectures on journalism?
Yes.
Even when these persons, the only claim of relevance with regard to media work is that they have an uncle who was once a newspaper vendor, So I think Fani-Kayode will still need to apologize to the gentleman. He ended his latest statement by saying that he will continue his tour of the South.
Yes.
Now, and I asked myself the question, on what basis is Femi Fani-Kayode touring states?
Well, I guess that's why he had the press conference.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's what...
Let me complete my thoughts. He had gone to some states in the north. He wrote reports on his tour. Now, in this latest statement, he's saying that he will continue his tour in the South. And when he goes to every state, he either writes an essay on it or, he holds a press conference as he did in Calabar. And the question some people have posed, once this controversy developed, is that, okay, in what capacity? Is he running an NGO or is he an inspector of states? What exactly is this, travel around the country? What exactly is it all about?
Inspecting government projects. Government projects.
So inspecting government projects is not in government. President Buhari has not appointed him as SA on monitoring and evaluation. So and it's not as if he's acting on behalf of the party. That's still one question that we need to address. However, the kind of solidarity in terms of response that we have seen from the media is commendable. The Daily Trust is simply saying we stand by our reporter. And I think that that is very good. It will build confidence, not just for Ayo Charles, but also for every journalist who will know that when they find themselves in a difficult situation with power figures, the institution will stand behind them. The NUJ has also done very well, the International Press Center, and I think, it's a good moment for journalists to see that people are standing by them. Some people have raised the question that the journalists should not have apologized to Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, that he should, in fact, at that point, should also have become aggressive. And I've read a piece written by Ayo Charles himself, in which he offered his own side of the matter. And he said he's a bishop in a church, the Brotherhood of the Cross and Star, and that by his pastoral calling, he doesn't have the temperament to be aggressive towards anybody. But I think he conducted himself very well. He showed respect. The fact that he apologized should not be held against him. In fact, if he had been aggressive, he would have presented himself as a poor ambassador of his newspaper. And that would have become the issue, that he was abusing, he was going beyond the bounds of professionalism. But he conducted himself in a calm and professional manner. And I think that other journalists can take a cue from his example.
Yes, there's another side to the story, Rufai, which I'd love to talk to you about. In the letter, the statement that Femi Fani-Kayode released just this morning, I believe, he also talked about the fact that there were circulation online, like information that he had threatened the reporter. Had sent a security guard to his reporter's to the reporter's room, and they had threatened him. He also said that he could do no harm. I mean, what's your thought on that?
I mean, at first, I want to ask a question truly. Mr. Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, please, who is bankrolling you? And that's the first question I'd like to ask. If you are going to get upset, you can get upset and start with me. I asked that question very validly because Dr. Abati raised a point we're not looking at. What right does he have to inspect states and to inspect job done? I think before we even talk about this incident, we should look at that area critically. What right does he have to go around states? And if he has so much money, there are people in COVID-19 isolation center that he can give that money to. There are over 26.1% of people that are living in poverty, that are unemployed in this country. I thought he would have used that money to create jobs rather than, going around states. So there are many people that are in need of money that Femi Fani-Kayode can give this money to, rather than going around states. So I would like to ask that question. I like the journalist asked very strongly, who is bankrolling you? I don't think that's an insultive question. We just want to know who is bankrolling you. If you are bankrolling yourself, you say, I'm bankrolling myself. But I would like us to investigate further on that. As regards the incident of intimidating the journalist,
yes.
Even if you see the video, there was intimidation. The man on the other end, stood and was talking to the journalist. So they were hounding the journalist there. So I don't know what happened. I don't have facts on that. But if the journalist said he was harassed, in his room afterwards, then, it's the journalist. The journalist has the right to state his own side of the story, and it's just stating his own side of the story. And I think it goes further too. A lot of people are saying that's the way people in power do to reporters and the like. I think it goes back to our home training, really. That's what I think it goes back. I don't think it goes back to his own when you're in power. Because if your parents, while you are growing up, taught you to have respect for everybody under God that God has created, you will have respect for them. So it's not about even being in power. What is power? Power is a transient commodity. You'll be there today, you might not be there tomorrow. He said, former aviation minister. I'm happy he put the word former. He's former. He's no longer aviation minister. He was once aviation minister. So I think it goes back to your moral compass and your moral conduct as a person. So I think it's an avenue for introspection for himself as a person to look at himself and for other politicians out there. Because they are so quick to teach us your job. If you are so quick to teach journalists their job, maybe you too should be taught your job critically. And we should look at that strongly. It's really very important because this is a reflection of what our society has become. We have become rude. We don't have respect for people. And for me, when you look at it critically, I don't want to say even it comes with even education. Because this man in question went to the best schools. He went to Harrow, he went to Cambridge, he went to SOAS. Those are top flight schools in England. And you would expect decorum from people that go to schools like this, even in the public, even if you don't go to a school as big as this, you expect decorum. And I'm really happy that the media has come up to condemn this, because we must condemn this in its entirety.
Yes.
Let's not forget that journalists are being killed in this country, and Nigerians don't see anything about it. There are journalists that are losing their lives, that their status of work is very bad, and we don't see anything about it. We are so quick to compare Nigerian journalists with foreign journalists. When Nigerian journalists are doing all the work here, we don't celebrate our journalists enough. We forget our journalists that died in the fight for democracy. Because one of that trend I saw yesterday that annoyed me so greatly was the fact that Nigerians were condemning fellow Nigerian journalists, saying they are brown envelope people and the likes. But these same brown envelope people were reporting, they were fighting for democracy that you now enjoy today.
Very good
point. So that
mindset
has to change, and it's very painful. Nigerians, their journalists are good.
Yeah.
They are the best in the world. Stop comparing them with the likes of journalists from other places.
Another thing that he said when he sent out the tweet after he posted the video, he said that if it was Donald Trump or Obasanjo that was asked this question, he knows the way that they would react. I think that was quite unnecessary at that point.
Let us not generalize, so that we don't give the impression is that it's every man of influence or every man of power that insults journalists. And my favorite example is that of Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Shortly after he came out of isolation, after that his COVID-19 experience, he had a press conference in his house, in his garden, just outside his house. And after the conversation with the journalists, he went in and made tea for the journalists. And he gave them tea, he served them himself.
Yes.
That was civility.
That's all we need,
at the height of faith. But here in Nigeria, once you say you are a journalist, the next thing is to say you are looking for brown envelopes.
But Dr. Abati, don't forget Boris Johnson is a journalist by training. So I'm not surprised he did that. He's a journalist.
And let's remind
it's commendable. anyways.
In that capacity, he was acting as Prime Minister.
Yes.
And perhaps showing a good example of how leaders should behave.
You're going to say?
Let's remind Chief Femi Fani-Kayode that he is not Donald Trump, neither is he Obasanjo.
Obasanjo, all right.
Anyway,
let's head over to the U.S. Enough of
Chief
this.
Femi Fani-Kayode is my friend. Don't over-crucify him.
Well, let's head over to the U.S. The second night of the Republican National Convention closed with the country's First Lady, Melania Trump, delivering a heartfelt speech. The First Lady, who rarely makes public speeches, was one of the few speakers at the convention to acknowledge the lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's take a look.
I want to acknowledge the fact that since March, our lives have changed drastically. The invisible enemy, COVID-19, swept across our beautiful country and impacted all of us. My deepest sympathy goes out to everyone who has lost a loved one, and my prayers are with those who are ill or suffering. I know many people are anxious and some feel helpless. I want you to know you're not alone. My husband's administration will not stop fighting until there is an effective treatment or vaccine available to everyone. Donald will not rest until he has done all he can to take care of everyone.
I thought her speech was beautiful. She was saying that, they were saying that she actually wrote the speech on her own. Remember in 2016, there was that controversy about
how comeback from a plagiarizing
Michelle Obama's speech. I thought this was really nice. I love the fact that she touched on, the coronavirus pandemic, and especially the fact that she touched on race. This was so beautiful. She's this one woman who is, so secret in her affairs. She never comes out to talk about anything. And I think this has really won a lot of hearts among Americans. I don't know if
then she tried to humanize the president.
Yes.
He looked like a very proud husband. And can I just say the background of the Rose Garden was beautiful.
Apparently they said that, it hadn't been renovated. Yes, it hadn't been renovated. She's the first lady to renovate it in 60 years. That's the story that is going around.
Let me take off from that comment that Adesua made about the Rose Garden.
Yes.
About the White House lawn where this event took place. Well, the Democrats are not impressed with that. They think that this is an abuse of privilege. This is a party event, a Republican convention, and the Democrats think that this should have been done outside the White House, and that the president is abusing, the fact that he's in charge of government and mixing politics with government. That's one. In that regard also, they've complained about Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, who is on a mission to Israel,
yes.
Taking part in the convention while on a diplomatic trip to Israel. But to come back to Melania Trump, you know that the Republicans went into this convention fighting Joe Biden, abusing the Democrats. They have this combative style. And the president's combative style, personally, had alienated a lot of women in the U.S., particularly college-educated women who thought that, Trump has been too combative. What Melania Trump, the First Lady, has done for her husband and for the Republicans was to bring a warm tone to a war zone.
Yeah,
because that Republican convention was supposed to be like a war zone where everybody would just be abusing Joe Biden and the Democrats. But she struck a different tone. Yes. And in terms of content, I think also, our speechwriters did an excellent job because she talked majorly about racism. And racism on a day when there was a protest in Kenosha, in Wisconsin,
yes,
where, a young man called Jacob Blake Jr. had been shot 7 times by the police in another case of police brutality.
He's apparently paralyzed.
And there were riots, even in Portland, even in Minneapolis, over this matter, almost a repeat of the George Floyd thing.
Yes.
And she came and brought this calm tone, talking about the people should stop looting, people should unify to move America forward, the people need to come together. I think that was quite a conciliatory tone.
Yeah.
And I hope that tomorrow, that President Trump, when he gives his own address, will not just go and blow up what has been, done by Melania Trump.
Yes.
Because President Trump, it can be uncontrollable and it can be insensitive.
That's a good point.
On the issues of unity and also of racism, and then the empathy that she showed on the issue of coronavirus, she stayed away with from all those gaps her husband had been committing about, the rate of infection in the U.S., about treatment. And she just identified with the persons who have, been victims of coronavirus.
She's arguably my favorite
and nobody has said she plagiarized anybody.
Yes, but now.
For her, at a personal level, it was also an act of self-redemption.
Yes, super fashionable too. I love her. Well, let's take a story under sports. Lionel Messi, who's arguably the greatest football player ever, on Tuesday formally informed his club Barcelona that he wants to activate a clause in his previous contract whereby he can leave the club for free. His decision has thrown Barcelona into chaos on and off the field after a disastrous trophyless season that saw 2 managers sacked. The 33-year-old has spent his entire professional career with Barcelona, scoring over 600 goals, winning 10 league titles, 4 Champions Leagues, and 6 Ballon d'Ors. Many sports fans attribute Messi's decision to the recent humiliation at the just-concluded UEFA Champions League quarterfinals, where German giants BAYERN MUNICH dismantled Barcelona with a scoreline of 8-2. Let's take a quick peek at the highlight of that game.
Looking for Muller, onto Lewandowski, and then back to Muller. And the man who always... This by Clement Longley to Jordi Alba, and Suarez was waiting. Oh, it's been hacked into his own net. It's an awful moment for Gab. Having taken off him by Gnabry. Perisic queuing up in the middle. Oh, it's in. It's Perisic who scores for the second. Now scored 33 goals in the Champions League this season. They might be in for another one, and they are in for another one. And it's Serge Gnabry. Here's Kimmich. Drilled in towards Muller. Well, there is number 4. There's Suarez with an opportunity. Suarez is in, and Suarez scores. And is that the first? He skins him, still going, still pulls it back. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's finished off them, and he just ran off them, and Messi is just standing. Coutinho's cross, Robert Lewandowski. And they've got men over again. Coutinho, and still, well, he won't celebrate. Scored the 7th goal against the club that he actually plays for. It's a completely embarrassing night in the Champions League for Barcelona. That's the first. Margot lifting another one in, and they're looking for more goals. And here's Coutinho, and he's got another one. This is ridiculous. It's 8.
For my sports lovers, Rufai, his decision is likely to incite a legal battle between the 2 parties, Barcelona and Messi.
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
I'm excited. I'm happy. Not because I'm a Chelsea fan, but because it's long overdue. It's time. Every football team builds, and they start building all over again. And I think it's the time for Barcelona to start building over again. And Messi started with them at a very early age, I think 12 or 13. It was part of the La Masia, that's the academy of Barcelona. It's grown with them. Messi has seen it all with them. I don't think it's because of what Ronald Koeman, the new coach, said to him. No hard feelings. It's just time for Messi to go. Cristiano Ronaldo has been constantly able to reinvent himself. Messi needs to reinvent himself over and over again, apart from, Barcelona. Barcelona has constantly been building all this years. If you remember, this same coach, Ronald Koeman, was part of the same team of Johan Cruyff back in the days, the Dream Barcelona team, that also had the former coach, the present Man City coach. And it just shows you that there's an evolution. I think it's just the end of the Messi Barcelona era. And we should look at that critically rather than, the things, what could have not been. I think the sad part is it's ending this way. He said he wants to leave. He's going to probably leave on a free because he has a clause in his deal. But definitely any club that wants to pay him will have to pay him those higher wages. Messi is a great player any day, any time. I don't want to go into all the nitty-gritty that, he was trying to dominate the team. And that. I think it's just time for Messi to leave. And fans of Barcelona should learn that. Before Messi, there were the likes of, what is it called? Luis Figo and the likes. There's some other great players. And Rivaldo that played for Barcelona. And it was an era, and they left. And even in Nigeria itself, Benga Okunowo did play for Barcelona. We had the likes of MUNICH. That was that era, the Kiko, the MUNICH era in 96, 97, the Ronaldo era, Ronaldo de Lima era in Barcelona. That era left. Then Messi's era came in 2006. So it's just time for them to build. A lot of people have said the president didn't do a good job in the team and likes. I don't want to believe that. Messi should just think of moving forward, wrapping up his career somewhere else, still playing in Europe, because I don't like to see Messi playing somewhere like Dubai or Americas, you know, and wrap up his career there. It's not going to be good. Still playing top-flight football in Europe and let Barca go rebuild and have their lot once again. And I think everybody will be happy.
Yeah.
So let's not be too sentimental about this Messi matter.
That's why I know you're a sports fan. But I love that he has chosen Manchester City as a club he wants to play for.
Oh, that's great. I mean, Manchester City looks like one of the clubs that can afford him, because I was looking at some of the figures. Almost £1 million a week in basic salary, £9 million a year in image rights, £30 million a year in bonuses. I mean, and the list goes on. So he's in protest with the board of the club. Is this a protest taken too far? I mean, with 3 to 4 years to the end of his career, and he has the hurdle of the release clause Rufai talked about, £700 million.
700 million.
There's a debate about that, and that Ligutosi talked about. I mean, I just wait and see.
Yes,
well,
Dr. Bati.
Barcelona without Lionel Messi,
I don't know what's
it's almost unimaginable.
Not the same.
Because his fans and the fans of the club always say that Barcelona is Messi. Messi is Barcelona.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of tribute to the talent that he has demonstrated on the pitch of play since the age of 13. He has spent the last 20 years. He's the only club that he knows. But of course, a genius like that could get frustrated. He has been having a running battle, particularly previously with Setien, and then also his successor. Barcelona has had to change 2 coaches within a short period. And that club has not won any major trophy since the 2007-2008 season. So that could be very frustrating for a man like Lionel Messi, who is used to being the genius on the pitch of play. Look at what happened to them. Real Madrid beat them, and then again they were humiliated in the quarterfinals of the Champions League by BAYERN MUNICH. I mean, I watched it. I couldn't believe
it. Was a German machine. That's what I just played.
And the 2 goals that Barcelona scored, one of it was an own goal. So, I mean, that was the last moment for Messi. But let's ask the question, what's next for him?
Yes.
There are very few clubs that can pay his wages, which Adesua read out. But you mentioned Manchester City. Perhaps he would be happy in Manchester City, where he would have the opportunity of reuniting with Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola used to coach, used to be head coach at Barcelona. And the combination of Pep Guardiola and Messi will probably provide the opportunity for Manchester City to win the Champions League someday. That's one possibility.
Yes.
He's also looking at, we're told, at PSG, Real Madrid, what is this other club? Inter.
Okay, Inter Milan.
Inter Milan, and perhaps Manchester United, that we understand may also be interested in him. Or at best, he could go to China, the Chinese Super League, if he chooses. Or he may return to Argentina. You know, he once said he wouldn't mind going back to Argentina to play. But whatever decision he takes, we'll see in a matter of days. He may change his mind. The former president of Barcelona is saying he's not going anywhere, because his contract, in any case, does not expire until June 2021. If he insists on that clause in his last contract, then, of course, we're looking at a fee of about 700 million euros. You know, 700 million euros. And, well, some clubs may just be willing to pay it off and have the greatest football player in the world.
Barcelona.
Of course, it's quite embarrassing, don't you think? Of course. I mean, he is absolutely amazing and doesn't deserve to be in a club like that. I'm sorry.
He doesn't deserve to be in a club like Barcelona.
Let's take our final
so what
story.
do you mean?
Sorry, Rufai. All right, let's take our final story under entertainment. 10 African artists have come together to deliver an African anthem of solidarity against COVID-19 in partnership with the Nelson Mandela Foundation and MTV Base. The song, titled Stand Together, was produced by Cobham's Asukwo and features some of Africa's biggest music stars, including Nigeria's Two-Face Idibia and Yemi Alade. Their message about COVID-19 is that nobody's safe until everybody's safe. Let's take a listen.
Everything is changed nowadays. Funny how we can't even play no more. It was only yesterday when we party every day. Now it's blood on the dance floor. All because of the virus. But it can't kill the power inside us to stand together and defeat Corona. And then we are bad things are changing. لكل قلب نرد شوية. نخرجوا إن شاء الله. نعيشوا إن شاء الله. 'Cause nobody's safe until everybody's safe.
Me, I like you and I know you like me too. Me, I love you and I know you love me too. We gonna spread the word.
Tell them.
And not divide us so. Nobody's safe until everybody's safe. Oh, me, I want to be safe. Oh, feels like we just need it. We'll pick up the pieces, start over. All the tears will be all over. Can you mean it? We will be much closer. For now, we scream and shout. One day, my people. One day we celebrate because this plague is over. Not till we be separating us. Nobody's safe until everybody's safe. Everybody's safe.
Oh, I love this initiative. It's quite amazing that the African artists have come together to continue to encourage people to be safe, to try to, practice everything that is in line with all the protocols of COVID-19. Really, really impressive initiative.
Well, 10 artists from 7 African countries. Let's commend one, the Global Youth Platform, MTV Base, and the Nelson Mandela Foundation. They put this together to spread the message of unity, resolve, solidarity around the COVID-19 in Africa. And this was launched on July 18 at the annual Nelson Mandela lecture.
Yes.
And we should also commend all the organizations, local and international, that have been using culture and music to promote messages around COVID-19. The UN in Nigeria, for example, supported some of our artists, Kobam Sasukwo, Basket Mouth, Tony Abrahams, to also send out messages. And incidentally, this Stand Together was produced by a Nigerian, Kobam Asukwo, so you find, and it's understandable, culture has also received a heavy hit from COVID-19. Manu Dibango, the legendary saxophonist, he died from COVID-19 related complications. Bobby Wine in Uganda, the musician, politician, also, had COVID-19. But strong messages like this could make a difference. And congratulations to all the artists. 4 of them from Nigeria alone.
Yes, 10 years well was on it, yes.
Anyway, thank you very much, Uji.
Thank you, Dr. Mati. Thank you, Adeswa.
And that's all on today's edition of The Morning Show.